On February the 12th, Viktor Orbán officially welcomed Alice Weidel in Budapest. This meeting was notable because Orbán openly supported Weidel's and the AfD's policies before the upcoming German elections.
Tisztelt elnök asszony, tisztelt hölgyeim és uraim! Az AfD nem az a párt, amelynek a vezetőjét minden európai országban fogadni szokták a miniszterelnökök. De épp itt az ide, hogy ezen változtassunk.
Weidel praised Hungary for its strong independence, leadership, sensible economic policies, effective handling of illegal immigration, commitment to free speech, and efforts to bring order.
Es ist mir eine große Ehre, heute hier zu sein. Wir wollen ein stolzes Deutschland haben. Wir wollen so stolz sein auf unser Land wie Sie auf Ihr Land. Und das haben Sie geschafft. Sie für uns als Alternative für Deutschland ein Symbol sind. Ein Symbol für Vernunft und ein Symbol für Souveränität und Unabhängigkeit. Das wünsche ich mir für unser Land auch. Und dafür bin ich als Kanzlerkandidatin in Deutschland angetreten. Wir wollen ein freiheitliches Land. Und auch hier sind Sie Vorbild für uns. Die Freiheit, Schutz der Meinungsfreiheit. Wir als Alternative für Deutschland unter einer Regierungsbeteiligung. Wir werden dem Pfad von Ungarn, unserem großen Vorbild, folgen. Wir werden unser Land wieder in Ordnung bringen. Und dementsprechend möchte ich mich bedanken für Ihre Vernunftpolitik, für Ihren Freiheitskampf, für die Freiheit der europäischen Völker. Und wir werden Ihnen mit Freude folgen. Diese ganze Bevormundung, Einschränkung der Meinungsfreiheit und die ruinöse Wirtschaftssteuer- und Migrationspolitik von Tag 1 zu beenden.
While Alice Weidel praises Hungary as a model for Germany, it's important to carefully consider whether Hungary's path aligns with the core values and goals of Germany and other nations. A closer look reveals significant concerns about democratic governance, freedom of speech, economic fairness, and social well-being. It's important to see how Orbán and his party Fidesz gained and kept power in order to build out this strong sovereign state. It all started with the 2010 elections, when Fidesz won a two-thirds majority in the parliament by capitalizing on public disappointment with the previous left-wing government and with the 2008 economic crisis, and by making popular promises. After gaining constitutional two-thirds power in the parliament in the 2010 elections, Fidesz made several moves to strengthen their position. They created a new constitution, allowing for significant changes in government structure. One major change was reducing the power of the Constitutional Court, limiting its ability to review laws. Second, they changed the election law. They reduced the sizes and shapes of several electoral districts based on previous election results to favor Fidesz, reduced the parliamentary seats from 386 to 199, and changed to a single-round voting system, meaning the winner takes the election all, even without reaching 50% of the votes. In 2010, Hungary's government made it easier for ethnic Hungarians living abroad to become citizens. Starting in 2014, these new citizens could vote in Hungary's national elections. In the 2014 national elections, around 128,000 of these new citizens voted, making up 1.6% of all voters. In the 2018 elections, about 267,000 voted, accounting for approximately 3% of the total votes. In both elections, over 95% of these voters supported Fidesz. They also made judiciary reforms. They lowered the mandatory retirement age for judges from 70 years to 62 years, allowing Fidesz the replacement of many judges. On the area of media and communication, they established a national media and info communication authority led by a Fidesz appointee. This authority has the power to impose fines, suspend and revoke media licenses, and regulate content. Fidesz and the government declared state of emergency in several cases when they bypassed for years the parliament and democratic decision-making. They used emergencies like the migrant crisis in 2015 and the COVID pandemic or the Russian aggression against Ukraine. Alice Weidel also praised Hungary for freedom of speech and freedom of thoughts. Well, let's look at the details. Firstly, there is a great pressure on independent media. For example, in 2016, Népszabadság, Hungary's leading independent daily newspaper, was suddenly shut down by its owner, MediaWorks. The company claimed financial losses as the reason. Since the paper had recently reported on governmental scandals, many saw the move as politically motivated, raising concerns about the press freedom in Hungary. In 2018, MediaWorks became part of CESMA, Central European Press and Media Foundation, a pro-government media conglomerate that merged around 500 media outlets under the control of Orbán allies. These outlets often spread the same pro-government messages and propaganda, reducing media diversity. In September 2020, the Media Council revoked the broadcasting license of Klub Radio, the country's biggest independent radio station. In 2021, it was revealed that the Hungarian government had purchased and used the Israeli-made Pegasus spyware to monitor various individuals, including journalists, lawyers, and opposition figures. Investigations identified that at least 5 journalists from independent investigative media outlets had their phones infected with Pegasus. Additionally, laws have been introduced that threaten journalists with penalties for publishing content deemed harmful to Hungary's interests, leading to self-censorship. State investments have often favored businesses linked to Fidesz allies. For instance, Lőrinc Mészáros, a former gas fitter and childhood friend of Viktor Orbán, became one of Hungary's wealthiest individuals through governmental contracts. Companies close to Fidesz win a large share of public tenders and public procurement, leading to allegations of corruption. Péter Polt, a longtime Fidesz loyalist, was appointed as a chief prosecutor of Hungary, ensuring that corruption cases linked to the government are rarely investigated, while Hungary also refused to join the European Public Prosecutor's Office, preventing EU oversight of its use of European funds. Hungary has one of the highest VAT rates in the EU at 27%, placing a burden on consumers. Additionally, the flat income tax system means that both low and high earners pay the same tax rate. Approximately 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, which is around 330 euros per month. Healthcare services face long waiting times and resource shortages. Always addressing what people fear the most and positioning themselves as the only solution. By addressing fears related to security, cultural identity, and economic stability, Fidesz has kept a loyal support base. In 2010, Fidesz positioned itself as the savior of Hungary's economy, promising recovery and restoring national pride after the financial crisis. In 2015, as the European migrant crisis escalated, Fidesz has shifted to anti-migration rhetoric, presenting itself as the only force capable of defending Hungary's borders against Brussels' migration policies. In 2018, the focus moved to anti-LGBTQI dimension, with Fidesz branding itself as the defender of traditional family values against so-called Western ideologies. By 2022, the party turned its narrative against the European Union, portraying Brussels as the threat to Hungary's sovereignty. As the war in Ukraine broke out, Fidesz campaigned with peace and security. Their message was that Hungary must stay out of the war, and only Fidesz could guarantee peace and stability for the country. Thank you for your interest.